All right, so we're picking up with frequently asked questions part 2. Even though we've already kind of talked about all the part 1 stuff, I want to take a look a little bit more at things like salary and job market and stuff. The good news in radiation therapy and the good news for a long time has been really good starting salaries. The starting salary can vary depending on what geographic area that you're located in, but typically you can expect starting salaries to be somewhere in the $45,000 to $55,000 a year range, which is actually really quite good for a starting salary. That's more than the entire average whole family makes, and that's just a starting salary. That's really cool. That said, I really want to take a minute and emphasize that if you're getting into the field of radiation therapy because you want to make a good salary, that's not why you need to be a radiation therapist. You have to want to help people. If you want to be a radiation therapist, your primary motivation, you're really far and away the thing that motivates you to become a radiation therapist has to be your desire to want to help people. We're caregivers. We're health care workers. In order to be a good caregiver, in order to be a good health care worker, you simply have to care. You have to care a lot. You have to really want to help people. That has simply got to be your motivation. That has got to be that far and above. I can't emphasize that enough, and I'm just rattling on because it's so important. You have to want to help people. You have to want to care about people to be a radiation therapist. You have to do good for humanity to be a good radiation therapist. If that's not your motivation, then you're not going to be good for your patients. You're not going to be good for your coworkers, and ultimately, really, you're not going to be good for yourself. You're not going to be doing yourself any good either. You have to want to help people. That's got to be why you want to be a radiation therapist. Later on in another actual video, you'll hear me talking more about what it's like to be a radiation therapist and what it's like to work with cancer patients. It's actually really cool. I think you're going to enjoy that. But for right now, I want to move on and talk a little bit more about salary and job market and stuff. There has been, now I don't really want to hit too many specifics about the job market simply because I expect these orientation videos to be plastered on there for a significant amount of time for people to view over time, and I want to give people the most up-to-date information that I can. So whenever you have your follow-up visit, there's a part of the application process called the follow-up visit that we'll talk about later on. When you have your follow-up visit, at that time I'll be giving you more up-to-date information about the job market at that particular time. But there has been one constant I do want to talk about with respect to the job market for quite some, really for just about as long as this program's been going along, which has been over 30 years now. And that's the local job market. The local job market in the Amarillo-Lubbock area has always been really tight simply because we've got this program here at Amarillo College that's been cranking out graduates for a long time. And for Amarillo, for instance, there's only 17 radiation therapists in Amarillo. The only way to get a job in Amarillo is if one of those people just happens to be quitting or retiring or whatever right at the time that you happen to be graduating and looking for a job in presumably Amarillo. And if there is an opening, well, we've got this Amarillo College local program that is probably going to have some other local students who just assume stick around the Amarillo area too. So if there is an opening, then you'll be competing with those other students for that opening. And in any given year, there might be one opening, maybe, in the Amarillo-Lubbock area. There's really a low turnover rate with radiation therapists in the Amarillo and Lubbock area, and I think that's just because this is a great job, and people really enjoy what they do. And so we just don't have a lot of turnover. There's just not many job opportunities. So if you have to work in the Amarillo area, if you just like have a spouse or husband, wife, or family or whatever that you can't leave, and you have to live in Amarillo or really close by, then well, as much as you maybe want to be a radiation therapist, this may not be the field for you, just simply because the more you limit the geographic area where you're willing to work, and this really kind of goes for anybody anywhere, the more you limit where you're willing to work, the fewer the job possibilities there will be. And again, in the Amarillo area, because of this program and stuff, it's just highly unlikely that you just simply can't expect to be able to get a job in the Amarillo area. So that's something, sorry to be so kind of downer about that, but that's a reality that I think is very worth mentioning. Time for a keyword. How about writing in the keyword, the first keyword for this frequently asked questions part 2 as the word string, like a ball of string. Of course, as I mentioned during the follow-up visit, everybody will get more information about the job market. But one thing that I've noticed as kind of a trend in recent years is for the job market to be tighter than what I'm comfortable with. And I think that might have something to do with the online programs that have been the non-accredited online programs, maybe cranking out more graduates than what the job market is really than what is really healthy for the job market. So I think things have been tighter than what I'm really comfortable with. And one of the things actually we want to do with our online offering is to maybe over time pull away applicants from these non-accredited programs, and we will be limiting our application pools in ways that the non-accredited programs aren't doing. So if we can get people to apply for our accredited program, and then we restrict and regulate the numbers a little bit better, I think over time that's going to have a very positive impact on the job market. As of this moment right now, the Federal Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts 15 to 20% increase in the need for radiation therapists over the next few years. So I think the outlook could be very good in the not too distant future. I don't have a crystal ball. I wished I did. But I think things are going to get better and better and better, especially as we look to grow our own program in a way that's healthy for the profession in general. But again, you'll be getting more specifics about the job market and that kind of information during the follow-up process and in other aspects of the application process. The next, and really the only other keyword for this section, is the word dog as opposed to cat. So DOG, dog.